Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Tales from the Soundcheck podcast. We've got a really good one for you today.
We promised you a Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3 and 4 episode, so we decided to take it up a notch.
Our guest has recently formed a Tony Hawk's Pro Skater soundtrack cover band called Bony Hawk and the Melon Grabbers.
We welcome Domenic Cuttle. All right, what is going on, dude?
What's up?
Not much. Really pumped for this episode. Like I said, we wanted to have our friend Colin, mutual friend Colin, on here. It's funny how he hit me up about it. He was really honest with me, man. He was like, I don't have much to say.
Dude, that sounds like Colin, dude.
Yeah, we wanted him on because, Colin's a big skateboard dude, and
dude, Colin's rad as hell too, man. Love that guy.
Absolutely. Refresh my memory. How do you guys know each other?
I met Colin through working at I'm a manager at a Guitar Center.
That's awesome.
One of my other managers at Guitar Center was in a band with Colin. So Colin comes in and kicks it a few times a month and stuff. So I actually met him fairly recently, only about like half a year ago and stuff. But
oh, wow.
We just have a very similar personality. We hit it off right away. And I told him one day out of the blue that I was starting the Tony Hawk soundtrack tribute band. And he immediately put me on to you guys. And that's how I ended up here, because I decided to reach out and see if you guys were interested in getting together and doing a little collaboration.
That's fucking awesome, dude. I'm so stoked you reached out, because like when Dave and I initially pitched this back and forth, it was just kind of like, all right, we'll see where it goes. But like now that you're involved in this, it just takes a whole other really interesting look into this soundtrack, because you clearly are going to know it in and out. So I'm really stoked to like get into this. But before we get to that, what's your like musical background?
My musical background, I'm playing guitar for like somewhere between 15 and 20 years, I'd say, because like the on and off periods. Been in a couple of groups, nothing too crazy. I was in a band a few years ago called Adderall Pizza in the Norwich area. Played a few shows with them, and then I took a few years off to just kind of recenter myself, and now I'm ready to do some music again. So I'm obviously very passionate about the Tony Hawk games, and that's why I wanted to jump into that. And the soundtrack's just so eclectic for the Tony Hawk games, from everything from AC/DC to Del the Funky Homo Sapien, and everything in between. It's just a sick franchise, and it had such an influence on me musically. That's really what threw me into punk rock. Before that, my parents were like Metallica heads, so that's all I really knew and shit.
Hey man, I mean, even Metallica covered Misfits, so respect.
Oh yeah, dude. And like the more I got into the Misfits and stuff, Misfits is my favorite band. I have like a Crimson Ghost tattoo and everything. So the more I got into the Misfits and Metallica, those two worlds just collide and stuff. And then even more like the My Chemical Romance cover of Astro Zombies. I think that was American Wasteland, is insane, dude.
Hot take. I'm a fan of Michael Graves era.
Me too. I love Famous Monsters. I think Saturday Night off that album is just such a beautiful song, regardless of who sings it.
Oh yeah, for sure. Dig Up Her Bones is like one of my favorites.
Oh yeah, and Helena, the music video is all Evil Dead, which is one of my favorite franchises.
Yeah, for sure.
Last week was my birthday. We went up to Salem, Massachusetts to celebrate and stuff, and there was a sick record store. And I went in, and this guy had some like really choice punk records and some like rarities, and very catered. You're not going to go in there and find like a new Justin Bieber vinyl. It's all punk stuff, all metal, all black metal, very cool stuff.
Sick.
And I get to the counter and I pick out one album, and I was like, I'll get to the counter and ask for Famous Monsters, because that's the last Misfits album I need to like complete my complete discography of the Misfits. And I was like, I asked him about it. I was like, do you have Famous Monsters? He's like, did you read the sign on the door, pal? And just the way he said it, I was like, uh-oh. And I went and I read the sign on the door, and it said, things we don't have for you: a public bathroom, change for the meters, any Misfits albums featuring Michael Graves. And I was like, oh, God. I was like, I guess I can never go back there again.
That's funny. I have that CD, like jewel case booklet and everything. It's in storage right now with a bunch of other stuff. But I I'm not gonna throw any shit at record store employees, but there's a record store near me where I've had a similar interaction where the guy was like, "Why the fuck are you asking me this?" And I was like, "Well, now the air is stale. Like,
Oh
what's
yeah, dude.
happening in here?
I,
It's
I
supposed to be nice."
I'll never understand that. If you want to go to a choice record store, just go to Red Scroll in Wallingford.
Oh, okay. So you guys are in Connecticut too.
Oh, I mean, we're both from there, but
Yeah, we're
Oh,
both
okay.
Dave's
All
out in
right. All
San
right.
Diego. I live in Delaware these
Oh,
days.
wow. Oh, sick. All right. I'm at the Guitar Center in Manchester, Connecticut. If
Oh,
Oh,
anyone's
awesome.
ever
cool,
looking
cool.
for me, I'll hook you up.
Spent thousands of dollars there.
But yeah, you get that a lot kind of energy in the guitar store too, especially with like the boomers who are just like, how come that Stratocaster has a humbucker in it?
Oh my
And just like a
gosh.
lot of elitist behaviors in that community. So that kind of sucks.
Oh, I understand completely. I work at a music and arts here in Delaware. So I
Okay, yeah, that's one of the
yep,
sister
yep.
companies.
Yeah, exactly. Yep. So I'm very familiar.
Yep, yep.
I can't tell you. I had a guy come in the other day and was complaining that I set the action on these ultra strats too low, and I was
I'm
just like,
sorry.
oh, I'm sorry. You mean so when people play it, they don't have joint issues like you do because you played like broken guitars? Cool. I thought we got past this.
You get it weird too because Guitar Center is kind of like a corporate. So we sell DJ equipment, we sell lighting, we sell fog
Oh,
machines,
for sure.
and people ask me questions about stuff like that, and I'm like, oh, I'm sorry, I don't know. I really only know like guitars and basses and amps. They're like, oh, you don't know about this? It's like, dude, it's Guitar Center, not DJ Center, not Speaker Center.
Nah, I hear you, but also like not to throw shade at Guitar Center because I've been a customer there for a long time. It's just like it's definitely with the times changing. Guitar Centers used to have like multiple people in each section that actually kind of knew more stuff, but now as it's like scaled down a little bit for multiple reasons,
Hmm.
you have to actually like be a little bit more open-minded and learn a little bit more product knowledge with stuff because like I know nothing about lighting, but I can at least tell you these are the essential parts that you need.
Oh yeah,
as
I can
far
do
as how they
that.
as far as how they interface, I can't help you with that.
Yeah, yeah, that for sure. If you start asking me about software, it's like I just got into that like world and stuff, and working there definitely has opened me up to learning a lot more and stuff.
For sure,
Super cool
same.
place to work too, because I mean, the discount,
I mean,
and
yeah.
B, like the used gear that comes in every day that you just get to see and stuff, and like I don't want to say first grabs, but there's definitely days where I'm like, don't sell this, I'm bringing in some stuff to trade in tomorrow.
That
It's the first grabs thing is awesome because I spent thousands of dollars at Manchester Guitar Center when I was in Connecticut and playing in bands. And when I was in high school, one of my friends' dads was one of the general managers there. And
Oh, awesome.
the first grab he'd be like, "Oh, this came in, tell somebody, that this is there." And obviously, he was a cool dude, and then knowing certain people that have worked there over the years while I've been active in bands and kind of being a local in Guitar Center, always wanted to work there, but just never hit the timeline correctly with but I hate retail and I don't want to do retail ever again. So
I've
I'm right
done
there with you,
retail
dude.
management for years now, and every day, something is like someone's like, "Can I speak to the manager?" And I'm like, "Why do I subject myself to this?" And I'm not like necessarily like an even-tempered man. I'm pretty quick to like pop off, so sometimes I have to really put those reels on and stuff.
Yep, I have to do it every day because I am naturally a smartass.
Yeah.
So it's
Oh yeah.
like you have to put on that retail hat.
And I'm already like the long-haired leather jacket.
Oh my god, you get done with a certain situation, you just go in the back and you're just like very heavy sigh, just like
Yeah, yep,
back to it.
absolutely. And then but then something like you get like I love selling kids their first guitar.
Oh,
It's
it's
just such
great.
a cool experience and stuff, and like something happening like that right after can like turn my whole day around.
hmm Yeah, for sure. That's one of the rewarding things because, like you said, like I've been in retail for way too long.
Yeah.
But I'm looking into going to doing tech work. So there's a school in New Jersey I'm going to be going to next year, and then after school, not that I need this degree or certificate to work at this facility, but I'm going to look into applying over at PRS because I'm an hour from Stevensville, Maryland.
Oh, all right.
Yeah, so it'll be cool. Yeah. Also, shout out to my boy Pat. He was a former employee over at the Guitar Center in Orange. He now works at the legendary Brian's Guitars in Cheshire.
Oh, dude, that's sick. That's sick. So, are you a musician as well? Any instruments for you?
Oh yeah, for sure. Dave and I both played bass respectively in our old touring bands, but I've been playing guitar since I was 10. My first instrument was drums at around 9 years old, and then obviously I picked up on a bass. I can do vocals, so I do a little bit of everything.
Yeah, because so the band I started, the Tony Hawk tribute band, is called Bony and the Melon Grabbers. I'll be the lead guitar for that and lead singer. So that's my first time really taking on both those roles. It's always been one or the other, or just casually. I've gotten a lot better at guitar since I started at Guitar Center, because up until then I was kind of just like the king of downstroke power chords, bro, just chugging.
I hear that.
So now, like, the Tony Hawk soundtracks, like, dude, honestly, Superman is one of the hardest songs I've had to learn because of that ska strum pattern is so different than, like, the Misfits, Metallica, everything else I play, Ramones. So,
Yeah, John Feldman definitely writes some really cool riffs. That is for sure.
oh, dude, for sure. And, like, a couple other songs off the, I have a little set list I've kind of, like, mulled over here, I think, and like Fall Back Down by Rancid was in Thug 2.
Mm-hmm.
Rancid's one of my favorite bands. I was fortunate enough to see the original Misfits in 2019 at MSG Madison Square Garden with Rancid and the Damned opening. So that was like a tantric experience for me. I probably won't top that. But that's another tough one to learn, dude.
Oh man, that show must have been sick.
So I was supposed to go with
Yeah, it
my
must have been.
best friend in the whole world, and something came up, and he had to cancel last minute. And I didn't have a car at the time, and like I said, it was Madison Square Garden. So I literally just threw a Facebook post out. It's like, if you can drive me to New York, you can have. He let me keep both tickets. So I was like, if you can get me to Madison Square Garden in New York, like, you can have a ticket. My buddy Tony hit me up. He drove me up in this 1989 300 ZX, like, boosted, all this crazy stuff. Not a car you want to drive to New York City
Not
in,
in the
but it was
city.
an insane experience. And we don't talk much. That was the first time we ever hung out one-on-one. But all the time we'll text each other and be like, dude, that was just so fucking sick. It really was insane. And like, it's like two things. You don't realize how small Danzig is in person until you see him in person. And you don't realize how big Doyle is until you see him in person.
It's a drastic contrast.
That dude might be an actual monster, dude.
Yeah.
Well, it's like,
Doyle, I would not fuck with that dude. Not
no,
even a
no.
little bit.
You like Slipknot?
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. It's like the same thing. Jim Root's a monster, and Corey Taylor is like
Corey
my
Taylor.
height, and that.
So is Mick Thompson.
Yeah.
Oh, Mick Thompson's a behemoth, dude. He looks like he plays for the Raiders when he wears all those jerseys and stuff.
Seriously.
We picked like 2 or 3 songs from each of the games, so we kind of have a variety, but I have highlighted like the ones that I'm like, okay, this is what I want to do. Because it sounds kind of messed up, but it's not like a group of people came up with the idea for this band. Like I got the idea and started hitting up friends to see who wanted to be on a project with me. So I kind of have vision up the butt. So
That's
I don't
sick,
want
though.
to falter too much from my idea. But of course, I'm always going to be open to other people's ideas and stuff.
Yeah, everything's always evolving. Even with this show, Dan and I will have a whole new thing within an hour and be like, well, that's probably going to happen at some point. And it's evolved tremendously since we talked to each other about the beginning of it about a year ago. So it's and our first episode was recorded all the way a year ago, even though we released it in May. And whew, what a difference!
Yeah, I'm sure. Like, I used to stream on Twitch, and like recently I had to clear up space on the computer for more like I record my own music by myself, like guitar and bass. I had to clear up some space, and I was looking at old streams, and it was like one of those things where you're like, oh God, why me? Why is this out here forever?
I
Yeah.
still have some cringe on YouTube that I ended up privating.
Oh, we're not going to talk about that, dude. Do not YouTube search my name, please. Except for my music. Only listen to the music.
Yes.
So you guys gonna be once you get you said you already have a set list together.
Yeah. We had one practice cohesively. And I think I'm going to have to pick a different drummer. So I'm in the process of that, but like it's not like it's an official thing right now. He's just like a very busy guy. So I don't want to he's like in a touring band and stuff now, I guess. So it's great
That
for
would
him. Like I'm
definitely,
very happy for him.
Yeah,
So
fair enough.
but finding
Yeah.
a drummer is literally the worst part.
It is.
But
Yeah.
it's only a 3-piece too. 3-piece, and then I have a couple of friends, like one of the instructors at Guitar and Center. She does like horns and stuff.
Hmm.
So I've kind of been like, you ever been in a ska band? Because it's like some of those songs are just gonna sound real flat without horns. So I'm either gonna have to get like a stem of it that's just the horns to play through, or get a horn player who can jam.
It would be so much more fun with the actual live.
It would be so sick. I've never played like with brass before, so that would be something I definitely have to feel out before I played out.
Yeah.
I also haven't played out since well before COVID, so it's one of those. And I got sober in that time, so all the time I think like I've never played in front of people not like obliterated. So I wonder if I'm going to like have stage fright or be shy or nervous or anything.
Yeah,
So-
you just gotta commit, dude. That's all.
Yeah,
it is.
that's it. I'm
You
like,
just gotta shake it off and commit.
Yeah.
Because, like, trust me, Dave and I both have most certainly had performances where you just have to let that stuff go because it'll really affect it if you let it get under your skin.
oh, for sure. And like, fortunately enough, the bass player who agreed to be in my band is one of my, at this point, lifelong friends, one of my closest friends, a brother to me, really. So
Awesome.
that always kind of takes the weight off to have like someone that you're totally comfortable with around and stuff. So that's why I'm pretty picky about the drum picking procedure here.
I mean, that's the best. I mean, I've known Colin since May 2003. So
wow, yeah,
right
way
around-
back.
Yeah, I met. Yeah, it's wild. I know Colin via. I used to live in Wallingford. I went to high school there, and right across the street was one of my best friends. This dude Andrew Testa, and he's cousins with Colin, so that's how I first met him. But when I first met him, he was a much quieter person. So the next time I met Colin, I was just like, okay, this makes way more sense.
It
So
didn't
it's like,
take him long.
because me and the guys we were hanging around, including his cousin, like we were loud and obnoxious.
Yeah, Colin kind of has that gentle giant-ish syndrome.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, he's a. I've got many stories about Colin's gentle giantness, and then I've never seen Colin like I've seen him very angry. I think I've only seen him once in that type of anger where you're like, oh, that dude's dead, man. you're like that dude's gonna die, bro. Like he's mad. But yeah, no, like it's awesome to do that. I've been in a band with Colin, and it was some of the best shows, the best music, the most fun, the craziest stories, like, and then on top of being a friend outside of that, having that is really, really special. And a lot of bands do have that. That's why you probably have the longevity of not having member changes in certain areas.
Yeah, started best friends and best friends.
Yeah, or it's the opposite.
Or it's the opposite, like the Misfits and or a dozen other bands, dude.
Yeah.
Countless.
Yeah, even Metallica, dude.
Oh yeah.
They only got cool Dave Mustaine like 4 years ago.
That type of anger. It's my band.
Yeah, it's weird, man. It's a weird concept.
Both these soundtracks, Dan and I were talking before we started, are thick, like super thick.
Super punk heavy soundtracks for me. And like I'm not gonna lie, like I'm going into this episode specifically with nostalgia goggles on all the time because these were my first games. I think there's a little bit of an age difference between us. I was born in '94, so really, Tony Hawk Pro Skater 4 was the first game I remember owning, playing, and went back to all the others. So for me, the Tony Hawk 4 soundtrack is the one where I'm like completely nostalgia blind. I played through it in a couple hours yesterday and just was fucking hamming, dude. I had a blast.
It's a great game, and I mean, yeah, we're a little bit older. I mean, in 2000 and well, when Tony Hawk 3 came out, I mean, both these games pretty much came out within a year from each other.
Yeah, absolutely.
So like you got 2001 was Tony Hawk 3, and then 2002 in October,
Yeah.
in the following year. 2002, I would have been I was a freshman going into a sophomore in high school.
I
Yeah,
was in
same.
second grade.
Damn.
But you have to understand then for me, there like my age group, there was never like a lull in skateboarding. Like when I was born, skateboarding was fucking
X Games were heat.
Everything. So that's the thing. Tony Hawk landed the 900 in 1999
Yep.
in Rhode Island. I'm from Rhode Island. That was on local television. Like I didn't
That's
have to
awesome.
pay for anything. I didn't have to. It was just on TV. I saw that live. That's a core memory for sure.
That's so rad.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so then like getting like Tony Hawk was in milk commercials, Tony Hawk was in Sobe commercials, Tony Hawk was
Yep.
in commercials for pizza bagels, like everything. There's no facet in my life where I don't remember extreme sports being sick. Because you hear people older than me talk about like getting made fun of for being into skating and stuff. Skating was super cool. The cool guys did it, the nerdy guys did it. We all hung out at the skate park. You know, like underage, like smoking cigarettes and trying to do a kickflip every day of the summer and never getting it. So
Yeah,
for me,
about right.
super nostalgia heavy on this episode.
I drank my first alcoholic beverage with a bunch of skate and snow rats.
Yeah.
You know, a bunch of dudes
Yeah.
snowboarding
Oh, yeah.
in the winter and skateboarding in the summer, and you know, a bunch of hooligans.
Oh, dude, both of my brothers skated, so I was around it all the time.
Yeah. And I think it's so cool that it's never had another like heavy decline in popularity. Like skateboarding is just as popular now for kids as it was when I was a kid. And there's nothing like the Tony Hawk games. There's no Fuel TV. There's no Viva La Bam on anymore. It's just like skateboarding is just such a natural thing that's like part of culture now, and it's not taboo. It's just so cool to see that. And skateboarding now versus when we were kids, like it's insane. Some of these tricks I've never even, they have to make up names for these new tricks.
I don't know what these kids are eating.
Dude,
Like-
The natural talent is just insane.
Yeah.
I remember if you could turn your skateboard primo and ollie over it, you were the sickest dude on the block. In my big ass audio sneakers and stuff, I had the BAM ones with the heartogram on them. Like I grew up in that era, the MTV skateboarding era, where it was on TV. There was a whole channel. We had Fuel TV. It was so sick. It was the best to grow up. And then these two specific Tony Hawk games had Star Wars characters as unlockable characters. Like it was like a game catered to me at that point.
Yeah, because it was right around the same time as episode 1. So
and then episode 2, because Django
Yep.
Fett's in 4. It's so sick,
Yeah.
dude. This is
Yep.
oh man.
That was one thing that the Tony Hawk games. I mean, Tony Hawk 3 for me, 3 and 4 were definitely my favorite games. The ones I played, the ones that introduced me, I remember buying Tony Hawk 1, or my dad buying it for me on Nintendo 64. Still have it, blue cartridge. Got Tony
Hell
Hawk
yeah.
2, yellow cartridge. And you know, those being, you know, 12, 13 at the time when those came out, I was already like into skateboarding. And my brother's kind of the same age as you. My brother was born in 92.
Okay.
And he was like the same thing. So he got to see like go through the whole thing, but yeah, we both played the shit. Once these games got not off of Nintendo 64, but the PlayStation 2 came out and everybody started getting them, and then the Xbox, that's
Yeah.
when like it was fun as hell to play these games. And
Because for the original Xbox, they came out 2.5 or 2X, and that was 1 and 2. That's how I ended up playing the first two,
okay,
because it was the first two on one disc. Yeah, so weird.
chunky ass controllers, man, those things.
Yeah, the Duke, baby. I love it. It feels kind of good. I think like you would have less arthritis if all controllers were that size now, or more. I don't know.
I was a
Probably.
PlayStation guy, but it's all good.
I
Yeah.
had the PlayStation, but then like it got to that phase where things were starting to get affordable to have multiple consoles in the house and stuff.
Yeah.
It was pretty sick. Like that's another like I tell everyone like I grew up. I'm the best age because like I went from, you know, like you guys said, the Nintendo era to the PlayStation 1 to the PS2 and then back again to the old stuff. And it's kind of been like that my whole life where owning multiple consoles was an attainable thing.
Yeah, and I did play one of these. I think it was Tony Hawk 3, might have been 4, on a friend's PC at one point around that time. And you know, it was controller enabled, so it wasn't anything different, but he had a nicer computer for the time, you know, 21 something years ago. I remember having Tony Hawk 4 for Game Boy Advance. And
Oh
what
my
a
God.
different game.
Oh,
Yeah, it was.
yeah,
from...
those are hard to play on the Game Boy
Yeah.
Advance. It's like the Grand Theft Autos on the Game Boy Advance. It's very tough. It's not the same idea.
Yeah.
All right, let's get down to brass tacks then.
Let's do it.
Tony Hawk 3, top 3 favorite songs that are either influential or just bangers.
All right. So for me, right off the rip, you got the Ramones, Blitz Street Bop. I've always been a big Ramones head. That song's used it was in the Recess movie. It was in the School of Rock movie, which is honestly what got me to pick up guitar with School of Rock specifically, not so much the Tony Hawk games. They got me into cool music to play on guitar.
That's awesome.
AFI, The Boy Who Destroyed the World.
Yeah.
That's when AFI was just such a sick band. I jumped the gun. I have a twofer here.
Okay.
It's a tie between 96 Quite Bitter Beings by CKY, because I was a big CKY head, big BAM head.
Huge.
And then Adolescence, Amoeba came up later in my life because I used to put on the Tony Hawk soundtrack all the time. I lived with a bunch of my friends. And one of my friends, to this day, it's a joke with us. He's like, put on that song that goes, Tony Hawk, Tony Hawk. I was like, that's not the words to the song, dude. And he's like, what do you mean? And I told him it's Amoeba. And to this day, every time I'm with him, it's more fun to sing it as Tony Hawk. And I could see why he thought that. It would be like the official Tony Hawk soundtrack song.
That's funny. Yeah, I was telling Dan, the Boy Who Destroyed the World, I mean, that's really what put AFI on the map for me as a younger person, teenager. And then I recently, last year, got to see them play that song live in Las Vegas, and it was really, really fucking sick. And then it just brought back, I was like, holy shit, these games are 20 fucking 3 years old, some of them.
It hurts, dude. It hurts your feelings.
It opened me up to so much music. Like, I knew about bands like the Ramones and Chili Peppers because I started with punk and like, older rock, but then you knew who Alien Ant Farm was because you said like you had your own MTV had skateboarding and had these bands on as well, but major like Motorhead, like that's when I was like, oh, all right, this is cool, but CKY 96 Quite Bitter Beings, I was already into the CKY world with the original VHSs, CKY and CKY2K. And
oh, dude, I ordered the CKY VHS. I had to like write my address down this little thing in like Transworld magazine and like rip it out and mail it in with a check, not even cash.
It was around the same time too that Haggard came out and you had to do the same thing.
So preparing for this, I've watched like all the CKY videos. I watched all the Tony Hawk Secret Skate Park Tour stuff, and the soundtracks to those independently are also super influential to me because I had those all on VHS and DVD as a kid. I was part of the Tony Hawk fan club, the official one. So they
Oh
used to send
wow.
out like boxes with like stickers, beanies, DVDs in it and stuff. So it was like really cool. I actually found my membership card the other day, and I was just like, man, this is such a weird world. Like my son will never believe this stuff.
Oh my god. Here's some cringe for you. When I was a kid, I was a huge like the first record I ever bought was Hanson's Middle of Nowhere. All
Oh
right.
my god.
Still a great record. Come on.
Listen. I was part of the like Hanson fan club. Like I would get they would send exclusive like uncut stuff, live stuff. It was actually pretty awesome for
The Mbop
very cheap.
demos.
Uh Stuff before that actually.
Oh wow.
Yeah, when they were like kids. It's very interesting, but it's funny because as poppy as that band is, they've been independent since like the early 2000s.
Dude, they're seriously good singers too. Like it's
Yeah, they're
actually like
great
quality.
musicians. I got really nothing bad to say, but yeah, just a little cringe to throw in there. The whole like no one ever would ever believe that existed.
Yeah, if it was while we're on the topic, first CD I ever bought myself was I don't remember the name of the specific album, but it was an Avril Lavigne album.
Nice.
Yeah, super random, dude.
I still got some records that are it was the time, like
Yeah.
every single person here knows NSYNC songs.
Oh
You know
yeah,
the
I have one in
lyrics
my
by heart.
car. You're
I
tearing
owned
up
them
my
all.
heart, dude. I was just gonna say I
Right.
have that CD in my car. I put it on the other day, and my coworker I was driving him in looked at me just so shook because it's the last thing he expected to hear out of my speakers.
We used to play like 90s, early 2000s pop, like NSYNC, Backstreet Boys, Christina Aguilera and all that stuff when we were cleaning up after we closed when I worked for Hard Rock. And one of our managers really hated that style of music. It was so cringy for him because it was like his high school era. Like not even that. He was like in college already. And he was just like, "Oh God, I couldn't do it." So we would just rip it highest settings on the sound system in there, and the sound systems in there are really good. And we would just jam it, and people just you go over to one section and somebody's screaming lyrics. It's no shame.
That's like the same energy as like before the band comes on, they're just playing music over the PA and something like that comes on. Everyone goes nuts. It doesn't matter if it's a Dormier Borgir show. You're
Yep.
gonna go nuts.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure August Burns Red played Backstreet Boys before one of their sets. I saw
Of
it
course.
pretty recently. Yeah. Before we get lost, Dan, top 3 on this one.
Yeah, so for this one, for me personally, of course, I have to shout out AFI as well. Like I can't stress that enough. That whole All Hallows EP, it's that time of the year. You should be listening to it nonstop. First off. Second, I was talking to Dave earlier before this because a lot of mine are the same. So like second would be CKY, of course, but the one I always want to throw in just because like I thought this dude was a legend. He was in every skate game that I played on PlayStation when I was a kid. Is Del the Funky Homo Sapien.
Yeah,
Like,
dude.
he's so good.
Oh, for real, dude.
His
with
flow
Ice
is
Cube.
like none other. Like
That
his
song's so
style
funny
is so
too.
him. Yeah.
The KRS-One song on there too, Hush, is another like I would never have gotten into rap music if it wasn't for video games because my parents were super against rap music and what it stood for.
Sure.
And that's the era of like all the Slim Shady stuff. 50 Cent G Unit was huge. The beef with Ja Rule, like that was that time frame. So I could see why my parents were like a little shook, but I never would have gotten into these sick songs from these games if it wasn't for these games.
And not only the games themselves with, like we were saying, the punk and the rock and, that influence. Yet there is a plethora of underground rap, and not even underground rap, mainstream, like huge
like
artists.
House of Pain. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, House of Pain. I mean,
Yep.
you got Red Hot Chili Peppers on this thing too, which isn't rap, but you got Redman and Exhibit. Those were huge. The other thing, not only with Tony Hawk's Pro Skater, if you were into skateboarding, you obviously played this game and it opened you up to different, music. But skate videos themselves
Mm-hmm.
opened you up to just like holy shit. I've never like there's videos from it might even been 99. It was like a forum snowboarding video. And I think it was called The Resistance. And I mean, there are songs on there like from the Butthole Surfers and uh, you know, Twisted Sister. Like I would never have gotten into Twisted Sister because my dad was like a Doors and Billy Joel fan.
Okay. See, my mom was a big Doors fan too. So, what one is it? Underground 2, Break On Through. My mom thought that was the sickest thing in the world ever.
Might have to have you come on again for the rest of these series of these games.
I
It's only natural.
didn't want to ask, but I was kind of leaning in on like being like part of this because these are what I'm heavy about, and they from this forward is where I'm like expert level on the soundtracks.
Fair enough.
Oh, I can't wait to talk about Underground. That's another one. My brother was like around, like I said, the same age, so my brother was into that, and I was too. But we were fighting over the console of who got to play it at that point because we were both into it.
My little sister was born in 99, so I always had a punching bag for these games for the 2-player. Just to be like, "Go, dude, are you even holding the controller?" Like,
that's great.
Arguably the greatest, if not the second greatest, of the Tony Hawk games for me is Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 4. You know what's crazy about it? A little tidbit. It took a year later for it to come out on PC and Mac. I don't know who the fuck was playing Tony Hawk's Pro Skater on a Mac, but
oh god,
to each their own.
Rich kids back then.
It's just like cool.
This one was double in size when it comes to genre variation and the artists that are on there. And again, some of the artists that are on there, you're like, I mean, it's a major production video game, so like I understand that's how they got it, but it's like holy shit, like this must have taken a ton of research talking to the skaters that were involved, on top of the production crew, on top of Tony Hawk himself, and probably a little bit. He does talk about the video game and how it was made and stuff like that on another podcast called the 9 Club.
Yeah, I watched that this morning. Yeah. I watched Mike V's episode too. It was really cool. Interesting. Mike V's my favorite skateboarder, and this game is cool because he's one of the only players in the Tony Hawk franchise that is an unlockable skater. A lot of the other skaters are just given to you at the beginning of the game. You had to unlock them for this game by doing certain like challenges and stuff.
Yeah, you did. And he had some really awesome special moves.
Yeah.
It's really cool. This one is thick though. I mean, you got AC/DC, you got the Colt, Distillers, Flogging Molly. This is when Drunken Lullabies was a big hit, and you got Iron Maiden, bro.
So there's no way I can pick 3 from this game because it's the whole soundtrack for me for this one. Flogging Molly was one of those things that like I heard it in the game. Showed me and my mom have a great relationship with music. Through music, really. I showed my mom that song, and Flogging Molly's become one of my favorite, my mom's favorite bands. Like, we've been to Flogging Molly shows together and stuff, and so it's like the Tony Hawk game stems out so many different ways in my life, with skateboarding, with getting me into punk rock and hip-hop, and even getting my mom into music and stuff, and there's just something to be said about that, and about Tony Hawk. Like, basketball has Michael Jordan, hockey has Wayne Gretzky, and we were fortunate enough to have the patriarchy of Tony Hawk really as the father of the sport for that, almost 2 decades, really.
It's funny you say that. It's very cultural, at least for the 3 of us. I can definitely
absolutely
say.
Like especially for me and Dave, because we grew up. He and I were both born in '87. So, like, we saw the early stuff. Like, we remember when Jamie Thomas was first coming out. The first... Dave, you remember the first time you saw a dark slide?
Yeah, what the fuck
Like,
is
yeah.
that?
holy fuck,
Dude,
dude.
back then, Jamie Thomas used to like, it wasn't like about tricks back then. It was about like more of the steez of skateboarding. Because Jamie
Yeah.
Thomas was just
Yeah.
really good at just ollieing off the tallest shit ever.
Yeah.
He jumped off like a building, dude. And it was just like, I miss like the skate video era because everything's on YouTube now. Everything's on like, you know, instant gratification platforms where
It
back
used
in
to
the
be
day,
a
like
lot more
putting the
exclusive.
DVD in, bonus features,
Yeah.
all the cool stuff, man. I would do anything to go back and just enjoy that one more time as a kid.
Like I said,
Oh,
if you're
yeah.
fortunate enough, you have some of that media still, and you can still enjoy it with people.
Oh, I totally do.
But you know, but it's again, it was just a very different time, especially pre-internet. Like, oh, man,
Just dirty
like
internet back then.
for me, one of the first skate videos I ever watched, I forget the title. They had this. It was on VHS. It was probably from like 90 or 91. But yeah, it had like the first like videos I think of when everybody was wearing like neon knee pads and just like the
Baggy ass
giant
jeans.
you know what era I'm talking about, the big
Oh, yeah.
fat wide boards with the giant wheels, like, but these guys were doing crazy shit, doing handstands and walking around.
Yeah, and then pants got baggier and wheels got tinier, and it just
Yeah,
got
the wheels got
the-
real
the-
small.
the
The pants
90s
got
like
lower.
90s 2000 era of skateboarding, just like like I said, Mike V was my favorite skateboarder.
Yeah.
He was the lead singer of Revolution Mother, a sick
Mhm.
band. He was a hockey player. There's the first viral video I remember watching was him beating up 4 people at once.
Yep.
CKY.
Which is the sickest thing in the world. Don't make fun of Mike V. You know, and so Mike V kind of was like that side of skateboarding I liked, where it was more like the edgy, like badass, like cool stuff. And I mean, now he's the lead singer of Black Flag. Like,
Yeah, which is
like
wild.
he's probably the coolest dude.
You know, something I was thinking about with this episode was, and this goes with many different, you know, people. Like you said, you could imagine, you know, like it's crazy that in all of human history we got to live through at least I got to live through like the tail end of Wayne Gretzky's like illustrious career.
Dude,
And
for
we-
real.
And we get to live in the time period that Tony Hawk existed. You know?
Yeah, I'm so
And
glad. I really am.
it's think about that. We were alive to talk about this game and experience this game as not like a new game, like a AAA title coming out now, or we expect the best. Then
Yeah.
it was like, what could be next? And we never expected it to be the way it is. So I know they've remade some of the Tony Hawk games, and they've made some newer ones fairly recently. What was the one? Was it on the Wii? Was it Tony Hawk Ride?
That was bad. That was
Oh,
bad. I actually
hell.
brought that back to Best Buy for my money back.
That's
That
the
was
one that
bad.
had the actual skateboard with it, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
And but
Yeah.
like
Yep.
everything kind of
It
had a
looks so
gimmick around
gimmicky.
then. Like that was Rock Band era. That was Guitar
Yep, it
Hero
was, it
era.
was.
Actually, they just talked about Guitar Hero might be coming back, and it's not something I really thought about until they said it, and I was like, I would really enjoy that because
Yeah, it would be
that's
cool.
another
New
game
music.
that got me into sick music. And like I said,
Mhm.
I have a little sister who is, you know, always hanging out with me. So my sister's into sick music too. So it's kind of just like so many people like it's just such a good outlet for everybody. The skate videos, the skateboarders, the clothing companies, everything incorporated in the games. It was just such a good move. And like the other spin-off games, I played them all. Kelly Slater, oh my god, I can't remember the snowboarding one. Sean something.
Sean White.
Sean White.
No. Older than that. Sean
Um,
Palmer. Sean Palmer
Oh,
snowboarding.
Sean Palmer Pro Snowboarder. Holy
Yup.
shit.
That's right. I
And
remember
There was a
God,
that.
demo, I think, for Tony Hawk 4 or 3 that had that on there.
I think it was
You had
3.
Matt Hoffman.
Matt Hoffman.
Matt Hoffman.
I googled it. I could have sworn there was a wakeboarding one, but
There
I can't
probably
seem to
was.
find any evidence of it being like that old, like the Tony Hawk Pro Skater 4 like logo, like that. Everything had that like logo at
That
that
was the
time.
Activision Neversoft group that was
Yeah,
making
O2.
all those.
Mm.
Because I mean, even like
Potential lost media.
God, that
even
would
with
be
like
tragic.
other games, like we had mentioned in the other one, like Dave Mirra games, and there's some other obscure.
Yeah, Too Extreme is awesome.
Yeah,
Those were fun. Skater was a really cool game.
Skater, Thrasher Skate, and Skater Die.
Dude, I'm
Oh my
old. Yeah, I
goodness.
remember playing Skater Die on NES.
That's what the one with the ragdoll physics.
Yeah, yep.
Yeah.
I have all. I'm a big like
Yeah,
retro game collector, so I have a lot
Yeah.
of the. I've caught up on a lot of like the back stuff. So like even the snowboarding games, Cool Borders,
Cool
that
Borders
whole-
is great.
It was such a good era to grow up in, and
Yep.
back to the soundtrack. This soundtrack, AC/DC, Agent Orange, Bouncing Souls is one of my favorite bands now. Flogging
Mhm.
Molly, another Goldfinger song, one of the first bands to have multiple songs in the game. Iron Maiden, Less Than Jake.
Yeah.
Chad Muska had his own songs on here with Melly
Yep.
Melon, Biz Markie. Like this is when they started asking skaters in the games too what they wanted in, and they started taking that into System of a Down, Sex Pistols, Run DMC. You can go down every song in this list.
Yeah.
This was my iPod at that time. This is what I was listening to.
It still is a very
It still is. It
big part
definitely
of
still
my
is.
playlist. Some of these songs and some of these bands.
In touch with you guys got me back into going back to the soundtracks and the movies and all that stuff. And I'm so glad because some of the stuff like was stuff I would have turned off back in the day because you used to be able to control it,
That's awesome.
or I would have just skipped. And now I've gone back and found, even now, 20 something years later, I found songs that now I listen to from the soundtracks.
Yeah, and artists too that are still around, which is crazy. Some of them, and it's crazy to think like some of these other ones, like like System of a Down, or the Offspring is still touring. They're about to do that When We Were Young festival, I believe.
I would love to. I saw them in 2010, and it was such a sick show. I would love to see them again.
Yeah, because they're part of that whole area of the skate culture. Like during these games, because skateboarding was so popular in Southern California, because of obviously the creation and the location of all the skaters that revolutionized
4
it.
skatable seasons.
Yeah, California was like the coolest thing ever back in the 90s. It was like the place to be. There was always X Games or Gravity Games, and it was multi-season. You could do whatever. But yeah, with this game at the time in 2002, I was into Iron Maiden, so I was like, wow, that's cool. They put Number of the Beast in here. But Less Than Jake was a band that I wasn't big on until this game. The Offspring I had already been into, but it was more of like the NWA, Run DMC, Public Enemy.
Yeah.
It was the rap and the hip hop of this game that I was like,
all these rap songs from this game are just
yep, it opened me up to a lot more music. Like I said, we were lucky to be alive when this came out, not just showing somebody who was born in 2015 or something like that and be like, yo, back in my day, we had Tony Hawk Pro Skater 4.
and the controller had a cable.
Yeah, your back cracks and shit. And
I was doing 2160s with a fucking police officer.
The manual combos, like you didn't get enough points. Yeah, you're just like trying to keep a balance.
No, turn the
manual to
gravity off.
Oh, we didn't even talk about the cheats. Like the cheats, like
Remote cheats in all these games.
We're getting offhand for 4. This is 4. One of the unlockable characters was Jenna Jameson. Like the cheat code for that was like the numeric symbol of boobs. Like it was. Oh my god! It's just like that's like the fart and boob humor era too. Some of the stuff the characters say while you're skating around, I'm like, I don't know if they'd put that in a game today.
GTA. That's the only game you probably get it in. Yeah, but I mean, these games, the soundtracks is what makes these games. The experiences we had playing the games too, as well. But there are better skateboarding games now. We've gotten into the whole Skate series. Skate 3 still holds up, and does have decent music.
Yeah, a banger.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, I mean, things have changed, but Sessions and Skater XL, newer
I
games,
haven't played those yet.
way
I
harder
really
learning
want
curve.
to.
Colin, really good at it. I love watching him stream for like 2 hours. I'll just watch him and he's just like just laughing in the background on Discord.
Me and my
Good.
buddy TJ still play Skate 3.
Skate 3 holds up, man.
Yeah,
It's a great game.
Still mad fun, and it's just like the memories that come with that too. Of like we used to play that together on Xbox 360.
Yep, I still have it for 360. Yeah,
I have it digitally the Xbox now. It's like one of those things. It's like I think I bought it for like $3.
I know, it's crazy. Hey, I hear they're gonna make a new one. Hopefully, they keep the trend going on skateboarding games and having things be really, really good for the most part.
Yeah, the punk rock community and the skate community since Origin have just blended together so beautifully. It's a symbiotic relationship that I think so cool. I don't think I could have gotten into one without the other. I think it comes tandem where everyone who skates knows these songs and stuff because of these games, because of the atmosphere, because of the skate movies, because of just growing up in that time. Viva La Bam. Go back and watch some of the Viva La Bam episodes and the songs that are in there. Take out even just the stuff you expect. Take out the hymn. Take out the CKY. The other songs in there are so sick.
Oh yeah, like I would have never gotten into certain things just from like the CKY original movies. Like I think I got a copy of CKY 2K in 2001 or something like that. So I was like 12 or 13.
Yeah, definitely
and
too young to have seen it when I saw it. And
yeah,
it was like
what
my
did
first
that?
boobs I saw and stuff.
People pooping and
Pee
pissing at each
pee.
other. Oh yeah.
Congratulations.
Oh, it's so bad. But like
the China rap.
Oh my god,
Dude.
I have I think I have like the whole musical soundtrack on a CD burned somewhere.
Oh,
But
that's tight.
Rammstein, I got into them because of
Yep.
this that VHS. I was like, holy shit! And skateboarding, like I said, it's not the lone ranger in this this ride. A lot of the other games that, while some of them have been created by the same studios and stuff like that, like you said, it's a symbiotic relationship between the music scenes themselves, the cultures of the actual skate scenes, which kind of gel back and forth with each other. So, and like you said, I agree with you 100%. I might not have known about one or the other without one or the other,
And we like I had Rocket Power. Like it was an inescapable entity of skateboarding when I was growing up.
That's right, Rocket Power. Ninja Turtles, it was all everything was skateboard. Hollywood movies in the 80s and 90s were skateboarding. I'm pretty sure there was like skateboarding in E.T.
Yeah, Back to the Future.
Yeah, Back to the Future. Yeah, exactly.
Yep. And it's just I'm so glad to have grown up in that era, hanging out at skate parks, trying to do these things we saw in skate videos. Like I probably got into more trouble young because of the stuff I saw, because of Jackass and CKY and all the skate videos.
100%.
Probably started
100%.
like maybe smoking a little bit too young and stuff because of
Yeah.
But like those memories will stay with me forever. I can't wait to, play these games with my son, all that stuff. And even every once in a while, I'll still get on a skateboard. And I do feel like a 30-year-old man on a skateboard now, where I'm like, if I touch that ground, it's going to take longer to recover than it used to.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
It's still just so cool every once in a while. Just get that wind through your hair, carve around a park. And it brings me right back to just a cooler time and stuff.
What we'll have to do at some point, maybe if Dan and I expand a little bit more, do some live things and get video or something, it would be really awesome to stream these games with the music in the background sometime. Maybe Twitch is in order next year or something like that.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that would be really cool.
It'd be a lot of fun.
If they don't flag you for copyright.
Yeah, right. Yeah, no, we're flirting with some ideas for some new things for next year. But new things. Tell everybody again what the new project is going to be about. If some of the plans, and then stage is yours.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you very much. So the band is called Bony Hawk and the Melon Grabbers. We're going to be, hopefully before the end of the year, I would like to play a show out. Definitively, it's myself and my best friend Connor Phillips. Still looking to fill a drummer position, have a temporary fill, but not going to, hold my teeth to that. And I would like to plug the Hive Skate Shop in New London, Connecticut. It's run by Charlie King. Super active in the skate scene for, over 10 years now. Owns his own company, put out a skate video. He's had concerts in the skate park. It's a beautiful indoor skate park in New London. If you're in the area, if you're at all, it's not like a park where you go and have to shred. You can go in there and cart around. No one's going to give you a hard time. Some of the guys that are, around the shop all the time live upstairs in the apartments. Charlie does so much for the community. He's an inspiration to me, someone I really respect. And I really support that business. And I'm hoping someday I think it would be a really cool venue for the first Bony Hawk and the Melon Grabbers show inside of a skate park. Maybe have some of my friends skating around while we're doing it. I think that would be awesome.
Hell yeah, dude. Thanks again for your time. It was really awesome just chatting, talking about these games, some nostalgia, just bringing back some good feelings. Times are crazy right now, so.
Absolutely. It was great talking to you guys. It was such a cool topic. I really appreciate you guys having me. And like you mentioned, if you guys, need someone for some more episodes on the Tony Hawk games, I could talk about this for 24 hours straight. So
I think we could probably do that and even expand on having kind of like a ever ongoing series about soundtracks for video games. Yeah, video game soundtrack.
Just soundtracks. I would love that. I'm a big movie guy too, so video games, movies, anything.
And movies, yeah.
We could even get into the two Matt Hoffman games. We could probably bang those out in one episode easy, because those soundtracks for the Matt Hoffman games specifically were really good. Kelly Slater's kind of more tailored toward the surf community, with like more like they literally have Jack Johnson on there, so
makes sense.
Not that there's anything wrong with that, but I'm a little punk rock guy, so
we appreciate you coming on. Shout out to Colin. Yeah, for real.
Oh, and last thing, I'm the sales manager at the Guitar Center in Manchester, Connecticut. If you ever need anything, you can reach me by phone, or you can come in and see me. I love to talk about guitars just about as much as I love to talk about music and video games.
Hell yeah. Walk in there and be like, yo, I heard you on this podcast.
I will literally give you a firm handshake, a kiss on the mouth, and a 20% off coupon. Yeah.
What a deal. Again, man, thank you for spending an hour with us and shooting some shit.
Yeah, dude, thank you for having me.
Thanks for listening. Be sure to follow us on Instagram and Facebook.
Listen on Spotify, where you can follow and rate this show. If you prefer YouTube, don't forget to subscribe, hit the bell so you have updates for full episodes and exclusive clips.
Find all of these links at our link tree. That's www.linktr.ee/Tales from the Soundcheck podcast.
And stay tuned for more news, future merchandise updates, and coming soon, our Patreon, arriving in 2024.
If you have any comments, questions, or booking inquiries, please send us a message on Instagram at Tales from the Soundcheck podcast.
Or shoot us an email at talesfromthesoundcheckpodcast@gmail.com.